Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to another video. And in today's video I'm gonna be updating my project Level Up, which is a project that was created by Sophie Alexandra. I will leave a link for her channel down below in case you want to check her out. You definitely should. She is amazing. I love her. She's so good at panning, and also she just had a baby, so congratulations, Sophie. So now we're gonna be diving right into this project. But in case you're new here, hi, my name is Sasha. I love indie makeup, I love colorful makeup, I love eyeshadows, I love project planning, and I would really love for you to stick around and subscribe. Like this video, and comment down below what are you currently panning. But the project Level Up is essentially kind of like a gamified version of project panning, where you have to use each palette a certain amount of times and hit a certain amount of pans depending on which level you are at. You can choose the palettes randomly, like I've been doing for the past 5 levels because it's my first year doing this project, or you can randomize those palettes by like random number generator or Tiny Decisions app or whatever you're feeling like using. As I said, I decided for this year, since it's my first year trying this project, that I would pick my palettes myself up until the level 5, and then I'm gonna reset for level 1 and I will start randomly generating them. But I just wanted to like get a feel of this project. And my level 5 palette, which that's currently the level that I'm on, we leveled up last month, is the Haggard Ecstasy of Saint palette. This palette was sent to me in PR. I was sent 2 palettes. I only have this one at this point. The other one I gave to a friend. But it's a small palette, and I'm not really someone who like travels with small palettes, and I never really use these small palettes. So eventually at one point I would like to completely pan it, use it up. But for this level, we're only focusing on hitting pans, and while I'm talking, I'm gonna pop the B-roll. I'm gonna put the B-roll on the screen, but this palette has only 5 shades. There's 2 shimmers and 3 matte shades, and for level 5, I have to use every single shade 5 times, but also I have to hit by 5 pans, which means that I have to pan every single shade in this palette. I decided to use this one because it's not too hard. Yes, it's 5 shades, but I only have to pan them, and within that I'm gonna use them 5 times. And I decided that that's gonna be easier than if I randomly generated a palette and got like a really big one. And now let me kind of pop the picture of this palette from last month. I'm gonna move myself aside. So as I said, this palette has 5 shades, and when I rolled it into the project, when I rolled this one into the project last month, this palette had 6 uses, which means I did 6 looks with this palette. I also always count how many looks I've been able to use the palette for, and then also uses within each of these shades. So I count that separately. And in case you want to see how I'm doing that, I have a detailed talking video that I filmed a couple months ago, so I will link it in the little card. But here's the picture of how the palette looked like last month. The first shade is kind of almost like a white pink, like it's very borderline, almost white, but it has that like pinky sheen. This palette had 5 previous uses on it when I rolled it into the project, and I've been able to use it 7 times in the past month. I've been really trying to use it, but I haven't been the best as using this shade, to be honest. But I've been able to use it 7 times. So we're currently at 12 uses as the shade The Norns. Then the next shade is called Saintess. Saintess had 4 previous uses, and I was able to use it 7 more times. So it's currently sitting at 11 uses. This one had some previous use, and also I used it to mix in with my foundation to create like a pink foundation on my face for a Valentine's look. So this one had quite a bit of previous usage. Then the center shade is called The Heart of the Saintess. This one had 6 previous uses. I was able to use it 6 more times, so now it's sitting at 12 uses. And then the second to last shade is Kenosis. Kenosis is a very deep purple to green shade. This one had 2 previous uses and I was able to use it 6 more times, so now we're sitting at 8 uses. And the last shade is called Midnight Ode. Midnight Ode had 2 previous uses. I was able to use it 12 times in the past month and we're now sitting at 14 uses for this palette. And now let me show you how the palette looks like right now. So I don't know if you can see, but we have a pan here, 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 and here. And I'm gonna pop the 2 pictures. I'm gonna put the 2 pictures for comparison's sake. So the first shade called the Norns, as I said, it currently is sitting at 12 uses. I've used it 7 times. I haven't been really focusing on this one, but what I used today, because I actually decided to use this palette today as well to show you. I used it as a first shade, kind of like a lid setting shade, and I think that's what I'm gonna do. Whenever I'm gonna use do these more either pastel or cool toned looks, I'm gonna use this as a lid setting shade, and I think that should create a pan pretty easily and pretty fast because these pans are very shallow. There's only 1 gram of product in each of these pans, and yeah, it's very shallow. The next shade called Saintess, I actually was able to hit a pan on my 7th use in this project, which means it took me in total 11 uses to hit this tiny pan. But as I said, I scraped a bit of the product in February to create that Valentine's look, so it had some scraping happening, but I was trying to like scrape it evenly so that I'm not really creating a dip, but there was a little bit of a dip obviously. So 11 total uses and 7 uses in this project, and I was able to hit a pan, and I think you can even see like it's a very shallow pan. Then the next shade, the Heart of the Saintess, this one had 6 previous uses. It only took me 1 more use, so 7 uses in total to hit a pan, because even in the previous photo, and even in the previous month, and I think you can see it in the photo, I was almost on the pan. Like you could see the rims and everything peeking through, because this is a very light jelly shade with a little bit of that multichromy green, pink, orange, gold. And I was nearly at the pan. I think before I'm gonna be able to completely level up from this palette, I think this palette, this shade will be completely done, because it's very fast moving shade and I really love it. It's beautiful. Let me kind of swatch it for you so that you can see. I don't know, can you see it? It's absolutely gorgeous shade. I love it so much. And I do use it all over the lid. I've used it many times. I think you could have seen it in a lot of looks, and I think it was also featured in my makeup diaries. I don't know if it was the last one or the previous, or maybe it was both of them. So I think you kind of, if you watch my makeup diaries closely, you've already seen this progress on this shade. The other 2 are very recent, because the pan here happened 3 days ago actually. And then we have the shade Kenosis, which I was able to hit a pan on today. I used a deeper purple matte shade as a liner, and then I decided to go over that liner with this shimmer, to make it a little bit more ethereal and sparkly, and B, because I knew I'm very close to pan. Like I knew there's a good dip and I know how shallow these are. So Kenosis had 2 previous uses and I've used it 6 more times. So in total it took me 8 uses. Since it happened today, it took me 8 uses to hit a pan on this shade, and for comparison's sake, it took me 7 uses to hit a pan on this. This one I use all over the lid and in the inner corner. This one I've mainly used on my lower lash line or as a liner, but this is again very jelly squishy formula, so it is super easy to hit a pan on that. And then the last shade, as I said, the Midnight Ode. We're currently sitting at 14 uses. I'm using it in my brows a lot. I've been either mixing it with this pink or with a little bit more berry pink from another palette, because obviously now my hair is colored. So it works wonderfully, and I think even if I would change my hair color, or if it got washed out, I can still use this shade and maybe add a little bit of gray or a little bit of orange depending on where my hair color is. So it's very easy to do. But I've been also using it as an eyeliner. I think I've used it as an eyeliner maybe like 4 times, and I think one time I used it as like a deepening up shade. So it wasn't all on my brows, but all of the times I used it on my eyes, I would also use it in my brows, and I only count that as one use. You know, if I use it for one look, I count that as one use in that shade. And we have a pretty good dip going, so I don't think it's gonna take that long. So yeah, I think within the next like probably week I would be able to hit a pan on this, and this one I think will take me a little bit longer than that. But if you've been following closely, I've used all of the shades at least 5 times. I think most of them I've used like 6 to 7 times, and then the last shade obviously was 12 times. So I've succeeded with the usage goals, and we have 3 out of 5 pans. I was kind of wondering if I should level up, or like if I should roll in my level 1 palette or not. But since I already have 3 pans, and the brown one will probably not take me that long, and this one I will use as a lid setting shade, I don't think it should be that hard to hit a pan, and I would like to focus on another palette. So even though we're technically not fully finished with the level 5, I will roll in level 1 because I want to kind of give myself time. Level 1 will be very easy to do. It only means that I have to use every single shade once and hit 1 pan, so that should be doable in a month, because I know that the next levels could be harder. Like I could roll in a palette that has 20 shades, and then it would take me probably 2 to 3 months to hit the goals. So I want to kind of take advantage of the time that I have right now and have fun with this. So I actually rolled in the palette a couple days ago because I was at my dorm and I have most of my palettes at my dorm. I only have a couple project palettes here with me, and so now you're gonna see me on a different day rolling in a new palette. Okay, hi again on a different day, a couple days ago actually. We're gonna be rolling in the level 1 palette. I'm at my dorm because I have majority of my palette here. I hope it's not gonna pick a palette that I have at home, but anyways, it doesn't really matter. We're just gonna be rolling in a new palette, and the Project Level Up reel. I don't have every single palette here because obviously some palettes have less than 5 shades, so I don't have it here, and also some palettes are like really really big, and I don't have the absolute newest palettes either because I don't want to, you know, try to hit a pan on a palette that I've had for a couple weeks. Like, you know, I want this to be organic, so I have palettes that are in my collection for at least a couple months. And let's just roll in. So let's see. And it picked the Earth palette. So this is the Little Cosmetics and the Little Cosmetics collaboration with Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Earth palette. I just rolled it out of my Project 20 uses. So that is funny. Let me actually get it. So I've been actually working on this one for quite a long time for my Project 20 uses, and I rolled it out. I think it was like a month ago, maybe 2 months, but I think it was a month ago. And I have so many other green palettes I'm currently working on for the Project 20 uses, and I'm trying to use up my 2 green shades from the Merry Christmas palette that are like the only 2 shades that I have left. So it's probably gonna take me a while to get to this, but since we're at level 1 with this palette, I only need to use every single shade once. This is a 9 pan, so within 2 looks I can do that, and then I have to hit 1 pan. Here's how the palette looks like right now. And what would be like the easiest choice? I kind of have like similar amount of uses on all of these shades, so I feel like it really doesn't matter, but so I'm gonna see like what I'm gonna be gravitating towards, but my favorite shade is definitely Kiyoshi. I love this shade. And also like Cloud Guy. So I feel like it might be one of those two. Just because I assume, obviously I'm filming this couple days prior, but I assume that from the palette I have on the level 5, I will only be working on the matte shades. At least that's kind of what I think is gonna happen. So I want to have one shimmer here, and this one is really, really pretty. And it actually has that like peachy pink to goldy green shift. I haven't hit pen on any of my Little Cosmetics shades. I only have singles from them that I have pen on, but not their palettes, so this will be fun. Another green palette. I think this year has taught me the fact that I have way too many green palettes and I need to stop myself from buying green palettes. I think I'm getting the message. It's been loud and clear. So yeah, I think it's gonna be either this shade or this shade. I do have a bit of a dip on this matte shade called 575, but I've been working on so many green matte shades. To be honest, I've been working on a lot of cool tone greens. I do prefer these warm-toned yellowy greens, but still, I think I'm gonna go towards the shimmers. But I never really like pick the shades that I'm gonna be focusing on. I just kind of use it organically, and wherever my hand lands the most, that's just where I'm gonna focus on. So yeah. So this palette again, I love it. It's a wonderful quality. It's just really funny that I have so many colorful palettes and yet it keeps picking everything green for me. I think it's trying to make me not like greens. Like I don't know if that's a conspiracy, but I fully believe that. Anyways, let's get back to the previous video and let me wrap up this whole thing. So, now that you already know what palette I've chosen, I think I already mentioned that, but I can't believe, like, I think all the project gods are trying to very aggressively tell me that I really do not need any more green palettes. And I'm listening. I get it. I have a lot of them, okay? Message received. I get it. So yeah, we're gonna be working on the Earth palette from the Avatar: The Last Airbender collection from Little Cosmetics. I'm very happy and excited to work on this, even though it is another green palette, and I've already worked on this in the Project 20 Uses, as I've mentioned, but it is a great formula. I love the Little formula. I'm actually using another palette from them today. It's the Candy Kingdom. I've used like 2 shades from this palette. So I'm loving their formula. And I think it's gonna be really fun to work on that. I'm gonna definitely use it in conjunction with my Project 20 Uses palette, because I have the Ireland palette from Nomad and the Undergrowth from Cosmic Beauty. So I think I'm just gonna like use them all together. What I think I forgot to mention in the little clip that you just saw is how much uses I have on that palette. So I will pop up a picture of the Earth palette. And this one has been currently used 23 times. So I've used the palette for 23 different looks. And I have a couple shades that have over 10 uses, but most of them are sitting around like 5, 7. So the first shade, called Metal Bending, I've used 5 times. And it is a beautiful shade. Then the 575 I've used 10 times already, and it is gorgeous, and there is a bit of a dip happening. Next shade is the Lake Lao Guy, which I've used 7 times, and it is a gorgeous shimmery shade. Then on the second row there's a shade Basingsei, which I've used 5 times so far. Another shade, and one of the most used shades, is the shade Kiyoshi, which I've used 12 times. I don't know how long it takes to pan these, but I think it's not gonna be that hard. Then the next shade is the shade Wanchintong. I think that's what it says. I'm not completely sure if I've written that right, but that has 6 uses. Then we have the shade Bedroom, which has 3 uses. It's my least used shade in this palette. Daily, right next to it, has 6 uses, and then the most used shade, and that's because it was in the Project 20 uses and I was using it in my brows a couple times, is the shade Omashu, and it has 14 uses. So that's where the palette currently stands. I hope I'm gonna be able to level up next month and also finish the level 5. I think it should be doable, but it also really depends on how much I'm gonna be focusing on my Pendos palettes and Pendos eyeshadows. I've been doing the most. Like, now that I'm here and I only have very little amount of palettes here, I've been really focused and doing everything I can. And I feel like I've been kind of dealing with shades that do not want to have a pan. Like, I feel like some shades that I've panned in the past took me like 5 uses, and now I'm on like 20 uses, and there's still no pans. And I don't get it. So yeah, it's definitely teaching me a lot about formulas, and I'm kind of trying to really inspect all the palettes that have a pan and all the palettes that I'm trying to pan to kind of see what the differences are, because I would like to film a little bit more talkative, a little bit more like a talking, chatty video about panning and all the different nuances. So I'm trying to like wrap my head around that. But anyways, I'm gonna show you the comparisons for the Haggard palette as the last clip in this video, and I hope you enjoyed this update. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I'm gonna be able to finish the level 5 within a span of a month. But that's gonna be everything for this video, so hope you've had a wonderful day, and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow with another video. Bye!